Hi guys, so my good friend Jeff spoke about a possible solution to the Northern Ireland Protocol. It must be remembered that Jeff and other Brexiteers campaigned for Brexit, and when issues such as Northern Ireland were raised, they dismissed them as part of a plan to water down Brexit or derail it completely. Now, I'm grateful to Jeff and other Brexiteers for coming up with ideas. I've always said that the most rational and effective solution to the protocol would be for the UK to remain as a whole inside the single market and the customs union. But I understand that while many Brexiteers didn't know what they were voting for when it came to Northern Ireland, they will still dismiss this solution out of hand. Anyway, let's hear what his proposal is.
There may actually be a very tidy solution to the problems thrown up by the Northern Ireland Protocol, and on the face of it, it looks quite simple. The proposal was put together by the think tank, the Centre for Brexit Policy, and is called mutual enforcement. All that has to happen is that the EU and UK both pass laws that say their respective exporters have to ensure the goods they export to the other side abide with the product and tax laws of the other side. So a UK law would say that anyone exporting to the EU must ensure the goods they export into the EU fulfil all EU product and tax laws, and the EU would do the same. The Centre for Brexit Policy said, "Unlike a customs union or partnership, mutual enforcement does not, of itself, remove customs duties, nor does it remove, harmonise or require mutual recognition of standards. It works by inverting the usual approach to customs enforcement. This means that the border is not geographical. It lies at the door of the EU or UK exporter. Then the goods can presumably be declared and electronically tracked through the export process. Everything else destined for Northern Ireland that stays in Northern Ireland could then be sent across with no checks needed. As the think tank explains, in a mutual enforcement approach, the obligation to comply with the importing territory's rules and pay duties owed is placed on the exporter as a matter of law of the exporting territory. This is the critical ingredient. The border position becomes redundant. Under mutual enforcement, the border is no longer the first opportunity to assert jurisdiction, because the importing territory has successfully had help in applying its rules beyond its border. And should anyone be tempted to bypass the rules, they would have the enforcement agencies of both sides checking on the goods. That's double the risk for smugglers. And it seems that legal provisions for this mutual enforcement approach have already been drafted, and the Trade and Cooperation Agreement could be adjusted to fit if necessary. Sounds a promising avenue to explore to me."
Now, Jeff refers to the Centre for Brexit Policy. This is another pro-Brexit think tank, and it's talked about mutual enforcement before, but it recently rehashed the idea. Now, as you heard, it would be a pretty radical plan, and it would effectively do away with the Northern Ireland Protocol and therefore end any border process on goods between Great Britain and Northern Ireland. Yes, instead of the current regime, processes would take place on the island of Ireland in a decentralised way, which would be basically doing away with frontier checks. This would load the responsibility onto exporters, the need of ensuring that any products sent across the border met all the customs and regulatory requirements of that importing market. Businesses would legally be responsible, not the state, when it comes to whether goods imported into a jurisdiction are compliant. Let's say a business in Northern Ireland was discovered to have sent a product that is prohibited across the border into the Republic of Ireland. Then that business would face a fine and other legal action in Northern Ireland. The enforcement of this would take place at the importing location or at the point of sale. Unfortunately, Jeff didn't go into any of the problems with this, so you can imagine where I'm going now. Agri-food would present a bit of a problem, to put it mildly. Food safety standards are extremely strict in the European Union, and agreeing such a plan, the EU and the UK would basically be handing over enforcement of these standards to private enterprises. The EU requires all products of animal origin to pass through border control posts at the immediate point of entry into the single market. So it seems that they would be extremely unlikely to dilute their agri-food border controls in this way. It must be remembered that many ideas were actually thrashed out between the UK and the EU during the talks before the signing of the withdrawal agreement. Brexiteers will pop up from time to time claiming that they have found something that neither the UK government or the European Union has thought of. We have seen this before when it came to the electronic border on the island of Ireland controlled by drones, or an attempt to force the Republic of Ireland out of the single market and the customs union. These ideas generally are not taken seriously on either the British government side or the EU's side for obvious reasons. The protocol seems to be the best of a bad situation. Instead of trying to undermine it, it would make more sense for all involved to work within its remit. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot. I want to say a big thank you to all of my patrons. You ensure that this channel continues to exist. I'm eternally grateful for all of your support. If you join Patreon, you will receive instant access to our Discord server, where we have both audio and video chats. You can chat with me and other patrons, where we discuss important and non-important issues. Becoming a patron per month costs about the same as a large coffee, so why not check it out?